table saw blade can last anywhere from 60 to 120 hours of continuous cutting depending upon the quality of the blade. I kind of sort of prefer these DeWalt blades. They're a good quality blade, they last a long time, and they give me a lot of service. But I'll also have to say that for the money, I kind of like these Avantes too. They're a less expensive blade and they seem to last a long time. Both of these blades are dull. Both of them have been cleaned once and they are no longer producing good cuts. And we're going to get into how you can determine if your saw blade needs to be replaced. Hi everybody, I'm Jim Deerdorf and this is Detroit DIY. Let's get started. Before we dig into this too deep, I just wanted to say that a couple weeks ago I did a tool giveaway and I'd like to congratulate Jeremy W. is the winner of that tool giveaway. And we'll be doing some more tool giveaways in the upcoming weeks and months, so probably one every 3 months or something like that. For a year we're going to do some tool giveaways, so keep your eyes open for them and hopefully you also can be a winner of one of those giveaways. Number one, before using any saw blade, give it a visual inspection. Make sure that all of the carbides are here and that everything is looking good. There's no damage to the blade, there's no visual cracks, everything is looking good as far as the shape of the blade and how it was originally built, that it's all intact and it's a safe blade to use. That is the number one thing you want to do, is just give it a good look over. Number two, if you're cutting a piece of wood in your table saw and it's becoming very resistant to push through the saw, it's a good indication that the blade is finished. Its lifespan is done. You may want to clean that blade in some degreaser. Just give it a good clean up, simple green, something like that. Take a stiff nylon brush, let it soak in there a little bit, clean all the gum and the tar off, and give it another try and see if there's any life left in that blade. But material that is resistant to push through the saw is going to be a dangerous situation. You don't want to excessively push on that wood to get it to go through the saw. Number three, after you've cut the piece of wood and you're looking at the cut surface of the wood, if there's any burnt wood here, that is a good indication that your blade is dull and it's giving you a hard time going through the material. Also, a lot of times if there are burnt edges, you're going to see some smoke rising up from the blade. If that is the case, the blade is probably done. Number four, excessive chip out on the bottom side of the wood. When you're running it through the table saw, it's always going to be the bottom side of the wood that it gets excessive chipping if the blade is dull. So when you pull your wood out from the table saw, you want a very clean cut just like this. Let's take a closer look. I also have a piece of plywood here to show you also that there's very minimal chip out. So as you can see, the edge of this is very clean. There is a little bit of material here from where it exited the blade. That is common. A sharp blade will do that. The other side is also very clean. Very nice sharp blade. This is the factory edge. And the same thing with the plywood. And plywood's a little bit harder on the blades because of the fact that the grains are crossed. There's glue and there's other material. But you can see just this little bit of material that's left. There's not really any visible chip out other than the fact that these are left here, and once they get flaked away, that'll be little pieces of chip out. But otherwise, the saw has cut very clean. You want to look for a very clean cut. That is an indication of a very sharp blade. And number five is the sound of your saw. If you've been running a table saw, a circular saw, a miter saw, any kind of saw for any amount of time, and you put a sharp blade in and you hear it just sing and the wood just pushes through so easy and it cuts so nice. And when the blade starts to get dull, it sounds more like a hammer beating on the wood instead of the saw blade actually cutting through it like it should and cleaning out the kerf the way that it should. So the pitch of the saw, the sound, is just key to diagnosing that dull blade. And guys, it's never safe to use a dull blade in a table saw. I would love to put one of these dull blades in here and show you how it acts, but it's just asking for trouble. And that's the last thing I want to do, is ask for trouble. So don't use a dull blade in your table saw, in your miter saw, in your circular saw. at least your miter saw and your circular saw, you're less apt to get hurt than using a dull blade in your table saw. Always keep a nice sharp blade in your table saw. And if there's any question as to the sound and the pitch, put a new blade in and listen to how it cuts and compare it to the old blade. You can always have these blades sharpened. Almost every city I know of has a local sharpening service that you can take these blades to, get them sharpened, bring them back, and they'll last another good 60 to 120 hours depending on the quality of the carbides. Alright guys, that's all we got for this time. Always remember to respect the power of your power tools. Keep a sharp blade on and stay safe. Congratulations again to Jeremy W. I'm looking forward to getting those tools sent out to you. If you enjoyed yourself, click on one of those two videos. They're going to pop up right there, and we'll see you soon.